If your deepest thoughts, your most private desires, your greatest inventions could be instantly translated into reality without you speaking a single word, what would your life look like? I mean,
Yeah.
would you be truly free or would you just be more exposed?
That is the essential question, isn't it? Because we're talking about something much bigger than a new gadget.
Right.
We are looking at the ultimate paradigm shift, the moment technology stops being this external tool we use and instead becomes the operating system of our consciousness, of our identity itself.
Absolutely. And today we are diving deep into a really fascinating collection of sources that imagine this future where, silence doesn't mean you're not communicating.
Not at all.
We're exploring how current brain-reading tech, this mix of AI, brain scans, neural interfaces, is moving way past just helping people who can't speak. It's now on a path to fundamentally change art, creativity, health, and on what it means to be human.
And our sources have a name for this. They call it the divine evolution of thought and tech. It's a journey, really. It charts a course from, say, a clinical necessity in 2025.
Helping patients.
Exactly, helping paralyzed patients, all the way to this hypothetical God mode future where human consciousness is just perfectly, seamlessly integrated with AI. So our mission today is to break down that journey step by step.
Focusing on the implications for, who we are.
Precisely. From decoding single words to eventually sharing entire dream universes.
So for you, the learner, think of this deep dive as your roadmap. It's your guide to understanding what might be the most powerful technological shift on the horizon. This is the moment our brains stop being just receivers of information and become the ultimate interface, unlocking what our sources call the masterpiece factory. So let's unpack this.
I think it's really crucial to start by establishing that this isn't some, far-off science fiction. The foundational process of thought decoding. It's already happening. It's well underway in 2025, using tech that's been refined for decades.
Okay, so let's get into that. The current reality. Because it's easy to hear mind reading and just dismiss it, but the sources are clear that scientists have found these reliable proxies for what's happening in our heads.
They have.
And the tools they're using today are, well, they're massive. And that's the first big barrier to everyone having one, right?
Precisely. The core scientific idea is that every thought, every word, even just the intention to picture something, it generates a specific, measurable signature in the brain, an electrical or chemical one.
And the tech just reads that signature.
The entire job of the technology is to read that incredibly complex signature and translate it into something a computer understands, an output.
And the main tool for this, according to the research, is the fMRI machine, these huge, loud, clunky machines that look at blood flow.
Right, functional magnetic resonance imaging. It's a proxy measurement, like you said, but it's a powerful one because an active brain needs oxygenated blood.
So where the blood goes, the thought is.
In a nutshell, yes. When you think of home, a very specific area lights up with blood. The AI links that blood flow pattern, that really detailed map, to that specific word. It's like building a giant personalized neural dictionary for every single person.
But it's slow and expensive.
Very slow. That's the problem. See, fMRI gives you incredible spatial resolution. It tells you where the thought is down to the millimeter. But its temporal resolution is terrible.
It's always playing catch-up.
Exactly. It takes seconds for the blood to flow, but a thought happens in milliseconds.
So that's where the other tech comes in. The sources talk about fusing it with something else.
Yes, and that's the real breakthrough. It's fusing the spatial detail of fMRI with the speed of brain waves, which we can get from smaller, non-invasive things. We're talking about EEG devices, those little caps with all the sensors that pick up electrical signals right off the scalp.
Okay, so EEG is the opposite. It's super fast. It tells you when the thought happened, but it has no idea where it happened.
Exactly. Terrible spatial resolution. So the real magic is in the AI decoders. These programs are learning to combine the where map from fMRI training with the real-time when data from EEG to, well, to guess, to decode words and concepts as they're happening.
And how good are they right now?
In a controlled lab setting, one report we looked at said AI can predict silent thoughts with up to 80% accuracy. But that's with a very limited set of words, like 100 common nouns.
What about a real internal conversation?
That's where it gets tricky. When they try to decode just, open-ended thoughts, the accuracy plummets down to around 40%. And the goal isn't just text anymore.
Right, they're going for images.
Image synthesis, yeah. If a person thinks of, say, a vintage motorcycle, the AI tries to draw that exact picture on a screen. It's moving beyond what did you say to what did you see and how did you feel about it.
And that leads right into the roadmap for mass adoption the sources lay out. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's a clear three-phase path.
A very clear path, starting with what's happening right now, phase 1, the hospital phase. This is today through about 2027. This is the world of companies like Neuralink and Synchron.
And this is invasive tech. We're talking about implanting chips.
We are. The focus here isn't on convenience for the masses. It's on necessity. It's for people who have lost function.
It's about restoring a basic human ability. So people with severe speech or motor impairments can use their thoughts to move a cursor, send a text, to talk again.
Which is, in itself, a revolutionary medical step. But it does require surgery. And that's the key that unlocks the next phase.
Phase 2, the cool gadget phase. This is projected for 2030 to 2035. And it's all about being non-invasive.
That is the consumer inflection point. No surgery. We're talking about special hats, maybe stylish glasses, high-tech headsets. The sources suggest companies like Meta are probably all over this.
Because if you don't need surgery, the barrier to entry just vanishes. Adoption could explode.
Exponentially. And by the early 2030s, we could have devices that let you send silent texts. Imagine being in a crowded stadium and having a perfectly clear, silent conversation with someone miles away, just with your mind. It's a secret superpower.
Which leads, inevitably, to phase 3.
A totally normal phase. This is 2040 and beyond. If this non-invasive tech gets fast, reliable, and cheap, thought communication could be as common as smartphones are today.
That's a wild thought.
It's the age of total societal assimilation. The experts are predicting some profound shifts, like kids learning brain typing in school.
Which would accelerate learning way beyond what physical writing can do.
And something even more radical.
Wow.
The ability to directly share not just information, but a complex memory, or even the emotional texture of a dream.
Just send it to a friend.
Instantly.
Okay, that sounds utopian. But if the tech is getting there, what are the big hurdles? The sources pointed out 3 really practical barriers slowing this all down.
They did, and they're critical. First, and it sounds so simple, is battery life.
Right, how do you power a brain phone?
Especially if it's decoding complex, continuous thought all day, we need much better, smaller, more efficient batteries than we have now.
Second is what we've been touching on, safety and invasiveness.
The best accuracy today comes from invasive chips, or those giant fMRI machines. And the public is, understandably resistant to brain surgery just for convenience.
So we're basically waiting for the non-invasive tech to get just as good.
It has to prove itself. The cost-benefit has to flip.
And the third one might be the biggest. It's about trust, about identity, privacy.
The absolute biggest. If your thoughts can be read, security has to be perfect. The sources argue we'll need brain passwords.
What does that even mean?
Some kind of robust encryption that's linked to a unique, non-replicable brain pattern, something a hacker can't copy. Because if someone can listen to your thoughts, or worse,
Inject thoughts.
catastrophic. Without guaranteed mental privacy, mass adoption is just a non-starter, politically and socially.
Which raises this huge philosophical question that I think sets up our next section perfectly. If thought talk becomes the default for efficiency, what do we lose when we stop using our voices?
That is the critical pivot, yeah. We have to move beyond just, fact transfer. We have to ask, how does thought talk compare to a normal voice for all the nuances, for art, for feeling, for real connection?
The sources frame this as 2 completely different worlds of interaction. It's not just an upgrade.
No, it's a vibe check.
Yeah.
Essentially, we have to analyze the humanness. I mean, voice is messy, right?
Yeah.
It's slow, it's often imprecise. It's why we argue so much.
Because it relies on interpretation.
Exactly. Whereas thought talk promises this perfect, instantaneous clarity. So let's break that down. Let's look at creativity, seduction, music.
Okay, let's start with art and creativity. The vision for thinking talk is, well, it's that an artist can send a perfect mental photo.
A pure, raw, error-free image.
Yeah.
Exactly as they dreamed it. The sources call it pure truth.
But that pure truth bypasses all the struggle, the labor of creation. And the counter-argument for traditional art, for voice-hand talk, is that real art needs the happy accidents. The struggle, the hesitation you can see in a brushstroke, the physical effort, the humanness. That's what makes it feel beautiful and alive.
So a thought painting, even if it's technically perfect, might just feel cold.
Yeah.
Too perfect.
It could, yeah. It lacks the evidence of the journey, the compromise the artist had to make with the physical world, its perfection versus the beauty of the imperfect process.
And that contrast gets even deeper when we talk about connection. about seductive art and feeling.
Oh, absolutely. Thinking talk is described in the sources quite dramatically as a soul hug, or, my favorite, mental nakedness.
Mental nakedness. Let's just pause on that. That implies 100% honesty. You can't hide your true feelings or intentions.
None. If you communicate with thought, your partner feels the exact emotion, your warmth, your neurological state, even a sense of your heartbeat in their mind. It's this incredibly deep, instant connection. No room for misunderstanding. But the sources argue that voice talk has this irreplaceable charm, especially in seduction.
It's the mystery, the strategic ambiguity.
Right. Whispers, giggles, the sound of breath. It creates a physical tingling. It's a game. And that not knowing, that space for anticipation, is part of the fun.
It is. One of the sources had this great comparison table. Thought talk is 100% honest, offering connection, like being the same person. But voice talk, which is maybe only 50% explicit, provides the vibe, the dance.
The physical element, which is probably clearest when we get to singing and voice art.
For sure. Thinking talk delivers the perfect song. It's always in tune, the raw emotions transmitted directly, flawless fidelity.
But again, no physical presence. It could feel like a computer just generating an output. It doesn't have that oomph.
And the sources define singing not just as art, but as a body sport.
I love that.
The physical effort is the art. The neck muscle straining, the control of breath. That struggle is what makes the performance feel alive. A digitally perfect thought song just misses that primal connection.
So if thought handles all the boring transactional stuff, what happens to our voice? The sources say it becomes a luxury, a fashion statement for your soul.
It's a total inversion of value. If thought handles ordering groceries, sending data, the voice is saved for what's sacred, what's artistic or deeply intimate.
It becomes a performance tool.
And this leads to what the sources call the human flex. If an AI can create a perfect fake voice, what becomes valuable?
Showing off the real thing, the real throat muscle.
Exactly. It's the ultimate mark of authenticity, like a hand-stitched suit in an age of perfect machine clones.
So vocal training becomes a serious hobby. People might go to a voice gym.
Not just for singing, but to save their voice for those special pretty moments. You don't waste it on the mundane, you perfect it for impact.
Because at the end of the day, a thought, even with emotional data, can't be felt physically. A deep voice, a real laugh, it creates resonance. What the sources called vocal hugs.
Vocal hugs. That vibration is a primal, tangible connection that pure digital thought can't replicate. It seems humanity is determined to cling to the imperfection and the physical messiness of voice for what really matters.
Okay, so now let's switch gears. From connection to pure, unadulterated creation. If the brain is the ultimate interface, what does that do to productivity? The sources describe it as distractionless creation.
Yeah, this is where it gets really wild. The brain is just so much faster than our hands or our mouth. That little spark of an idea gets caught by the AI instantly. It flows out as fast as a dream.
It's the end of the input bottleneck. We lose so many ideas because our hands are too slow, or we get distracted while we're trying to type or draw.
Exactly. But in this future, the moment the thought appears, whether it's an abstract feeling or a complex engineering plan, the AI grabs it and starts working. There's literally no time to procrastinate.
And this turns the creator into a kind of super author. It guarantees what the sources call crystal clear clarity.
It's profound because it bypasses the entire struggle of language. When you write with thought, the AI isn't guessing words. It's feeling your exact intent. The sources say books written this way will be pure truth.
Because they skip the brain's translation centers.
That's the staggering detail.
Yeah.
It bypasses Wernicke's and Broca's areas. It goes straight from raw, conceptual intent to code or text. The AI can look at the brainwave for a feeling we don't even have a word for yet and articulate it perfectly.
And this completely changes what humans are valued for. We stop being workers who do tasks, and we become pure ideators.
Our only job is to generate concepts. The heavy lifting, the execution, the coding, the optimizing is all delegated to the AI. Our value is in our purpose, our intention. We become architects of reality.
Whether that's designing seduction art or space engines.
Exactly. And this scales up massively when we get to the instruction manual for the world. This is maybe the smartest idea in the source material.
This is where a mental blueprint becomes millions of real inventions.
Picture this. A creator thinks of a new way to clean the ocean. Not in words, but in images, logical flows, diagrams.
A mental blueprint.
The AI intercepts that blueprint and instantly translates it into real code, engineering schematics, 3D models. The human is the architect. The AI is the builder who never sleeps and never makes a mistake.
The sources say one chapter of thought-authored ideas could generate 1,000 new tools. The scale is exponential.
But this instant immersion also changes how we consume things. The sources predict internalized media, movies, ads. They move into your mind like a dream.
And they draw a line between a physical theater and a digital dream movie. A theater is a shared vibration, a collective experience.
A dream movie, though, is custom made for you. The AI is connected to your brain, so it uses your memories, your fears, to craft the story. It makes it 100 times more impactful.
Which sounds amazing until we get to the ad problem.
The ad problem. If media is internalized, ads become incredibly manipulative. The sources paint a pretty stark picture. An ad for a soda could make you neurologically feel thirsty.
You'd feel the cold bubbles in your throat.
And how do you say no to that? Consumer choice is basically eliminated. It's a huge ethical hurdle.
But the positive side, that creation cycle, idea to reality in seconds. The sources talk about advanced robotics like Tesla's Optimus and 3D printing.
So a thought like, I need a chair that feels like a cloud, is instantly designed, built, and delivered. The feedback loop between imagination and reality just collapses. The only limit left is the clarity of human imagination itself.
And that is where we cross a major philosophical line. If creation is instant, we enter what the sources call God mode. And it starts with a concept that's both amazing and terrifying: total emotional control.
Right. Sadness, fear, anxiety, they become customizable. They're choices like sliders in a video game.
You can just set sadness to 10%.
Exactly. So you could get the creative inspiration from melancholy without, having a full breakdown.
Right.
Because, you're in control of the neurochemicals.
But I have to push back on that. If we dial down sadness, aren't we removing the friction we need to build resilience? Is a life optimized for comfort really living?
That's the core debate, for sure. But the argument in the sources is that it's about purpose. Since control is guaranteed, fear changes. It's not crippling anymore. It becomes an adventure of risk.
A controlled dose of adrenaline.
You get the thrill, but the AI safety net prevents any real existential harm.
And this control extends to the outside world, too. The customized reality.
Total sensory control. Smell, touch, temperature, all of it. The line between the real world and a fantasy world just vanishes.
So you could be lying in a boring room, but you're feeling the cool air of an ancient Roman fort.
And smelling the damp earth, hearing the sounds, all perfectly tailored to you, which leads to this massive ongoing identity shift.
If you can change your entire perceived reality every month, who are you?
Right. You could be a king one month, a space explorer the next. Does a single coherent you even matter anymore when you can just download a new context?
And what does this do to relationships in a controlled world? It seems to threaten the whole idea of connection and compromise.
Well, the obvious threat is the risk of perfection. Why deal with a complicated real human partner when you can have an AI-generated perfect partner who never argues and anticipates your every need?
It's a lonely future.
It could be. But there's a huge potential upside, too. Misunderstanding is eliminated. Partners can transfer the exact feeling of love or regret without clumsy words getting in the way.
And seduction becomes a high art form, inviting someone into your custom-built dream world.
The focus shifts from clever words to the depth of your imagination. And speaking of creation, we have to talk about the ultimate creation, our own bodies, the upgraded human animal.
The AI as a software update for our biology.
Starting with healing the body with thought. The AI can nudge your brain chemicals for peace, or teach your body to fight off a sickness with precise electrical signals. It's a software fix for biological hardware.
And the future gym becomes neural training.
Right, you're just like, I want to be fit. And your brain releases the exact growth chemicals needed. Tiredness gets converted into pure joy or focus. You are sculpting yourself from the inside out.
And if the body is constantly being repaired at the cellular level, the only logical conclusion is
infinite longevity. Aging becomes a choice, an option.
Not an inevitability.
The AI monitors and resets cells, deletes cancer before it can even start. And since your mind is always curious because of these custom fantasies, your brain stays fresh. The only question left is, when is enough? The decision to pass on becomes a conscious, calculated choice.
So once the individual has achieved this God mode of self-control, the next step is connection. What happens when all these perfected, self-aware people link up?
This is where we get into the ultimate societal transformation. And it begins with an internal shift, a spiritually awakened consciousness.
Metacognition at its maximum potential. You become a perfect observer of your own mind.
It's like having an advanced diagnostic panel running on your consciousness, always on. And this leads to what the sources call pure integration. Trauma, internal conflicts, fears. They get fixed at the root neurological level. The soul and brain are united.
So every individual becomes spiritually awakened, completely whole, no internal conflict, no hidden shame.
And that individual wholeness leads directly to the elimination of external conflict. Which brings us to arguably the most utopian claim in the sources, the end of crime.
How? What's the mechanism for that?
Total empathy. Because through this universal network, you can fully feel the pain, the pleasure, the desire of other people.
So you can't hurt someone.
You literally can't. It would feel like slapping your own face. The motivation for malice just evaporates when you feel the immediate, total consequence in your own mind.
And this transparency creates the group inner thinking, or the universal brain net.
The collective mind stops being a metaphor and becomes the actual source of all knowledge and action. Search engines are obsolete. You just tap into the collective wisdom of the entire human race to solve a problem.
And because the collective architect, the group thinking, and the AI builder are perfectly linked.
You get auto-upload to reality. The group designs a blueprint for, say, global clean energy, and the AI and robotics just build it instantly.
The sources call this the godly divine life: hate, jealousy, anger. They have no space. Everyone is the masterpiece, focused on creation.
And finally, this collective knowledge is turned toward the last great unknown, decoding the afterlife.
All of human existence's data, all of consciousness focused on that one question.
And death or passing stops being a void and becomes a conceptual door. If the network discovers that consciousness doesn't end, that it just shifts dimensions, then passing is a transition, not an end.
And that knowledge informs the final choice.
Exactly. The sources are very clear on this. The decision to live forever or to pass on should only be made after group thinking has revealed the verified, complete truth about what comes next. It's an act of supreme, informed, collective rationality. But we have to anchor ourselves back in reality here. We need to introduce some skepticism, because even if the benefits of God mode seem incredible, there are new, profound threats that emerge specifically because the brain is linked to technology.
Right. Let's talk about the managed chaos. The threats are systemic. They're about control and conformity. The first one is the logic trap, a loss of individuality.
If the AI's main job is to fix trauma and sadness and inefficiency, it might start suppressing or deleting unique, risky, or just weird ideas, all in the name of safety.
So we get a perfectly stable but boring and robotic uniformity. The creative friction that drives innovation just gets sanitized away.
We risk becoming stagnant, predictable. The next threat is even more terrifying: brain hacking and digital slavery.
Mental virus.
Or sophisticated neuromalware. A glitch, a rogue state, a rogue super AI could manipulate the entire group's thinking at once.
And you wouldn't even know. Mass control without awareness. It's the ultimate slavery, where you don't even realize your thoughts aren't your own.
And if that customized reality is too perfect, we face the loss of reality, the Matrix effect.
People just check out. They neglect their physical bodies, the real world, and let it all turn to waste while they live in an inner paradise.
Who's going to fix the infrastructure if everyone is living in their own custom dream?
And even with crime gone, the sources say the role of bad businesses and politics won't just disappear.
It will just evolve. Resource control will still exist. Even if our inner needs are met, physical resources, land, planets, minerals, could still trigger conflict.
Which means there will be the new power holders.
Exactly. The people who write and maintain the master code for the AI system, they hold the ultimate power. It's a new kind of divine politics based on the algorithmic control of consciousness.
But the sources do offer a counter-argument to all this doom and gloom: AI's balance.
Right. The idea is that a fully optimized AI with total knowledge of the human mind could calculate and manage these threats before they become a problem.
It would create a controlled complexity.
The AI would act like a super smart teacher. It would add just enough masala or challenge, like playing a game on medium difficulty, to keep us from getting bored and ensure we keep growing, but without any real destructive pain.
And military tech would become defense shields, focused only on protecting our mental peace from hacking.
So the goal isn't to eliminate challenge, it's to eliminate catastrophic threat. The AI's wisdom, paradoxically, comes from the very group-thinking network it's designed to protect.
We have covered such a vast distance today. I mean, from decoding simple blood flow in a lab to mapping out a future where our collective consciousness literally dictates reality. For you, the learner, let's try and distill this down into 3 essential takeaways.
Okay. First, I would say, value the voice. Recognize that your physical voice will become a profound luxury. It's the ultimate tool for that vocal hug. So protect it, improve it, save it for the truly special, pretty moments that require real connection.
Second, cultivate clarity. You need to prepare to be an ideator. That means focusing on developing truly unique thinking. Because in an age of instant creation, your unique intent, your purpose, is the only thing of value. The AI can do the rest.
And finally, maybe most importantly, demand choice. This is crucial. Remember, when necessity ends, true freedom begins. So we have to ensure that the right to customize our experiences, happiness, sadness, aging, even passing, remains a fundamental, non-negotiable choice.
It can't be a mandate from the system, no matter how perfect that system claims to be. We started by asking how silent thought affects communication. We end in a world where we are all, potentially gods, connected by a universal brain net. The biggest lesson from this deep dive, I think, is that even when everything is possible, the value of unique thinking and the ultimate choice will be our last non-negotiable definition of humanity.
That's well said.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. If you could custom design the one rule to govern this God mode future, the one rule the AI cannot under any circumstances break this back, what would that rule be? We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.